started noticing some changes. And probably one of the first things I noticed was my shoulders weren't like this. I wasn't just, trying to get through my day and hold myself together and not fall apart. Because I was in pain every day, and the post-traumatic stress was just, I was making up horrible scenarios in my mind every few minutes, and it was just really hard to get through my day with that always there. And so I noticed that my shoulders were relaxed, and I was happy without trying to be happy for the first time in 12 years. And it gets easier. I wake up in the morning and I don't have to use my strategies. I'm not wore out before 9 o'clock. I'm just happy because I can be. Yeah. When you wake up in the morning, how you just get up and go on with your day. Well, I think when you have post-traumatic stress so bad, you get up in the morning and you instantly feel like going back to bed. It's just hard, put that smile on and get through your day. And you have that heavy feeling or heavy weight along with the stresses that everybody else feels, being a mom, getting meals done, getting off to work, paying bills, family, spouse, everything. Everybody has that. But then you add on all this other stuff, and it's just, I had to take a lot of breaks during my day to even get through my day. And now I don't have to do that as much. My kids noticed. I have a daughter in Texas, and she noticed on the phone that I can listen to her now. And that's huge to me, because my son noticed. He was in California, and it's important for your kids to be heard and to not be able to do that as a mom. And now I can. It's huge. My kids and my husband, everybody's been, mostly the kids, really excited that they have their mom back. It's like when I would run errands, I would make a list of everything I had to do, everywhere I would go. I wouldn't even get halfway through and I would have a headache and just done. And I would go home and go to bed. And I remember running errands in town and looking at my list. I pulled into the bank or somewhere, and I was done. I was done with my whole list and still was feeling good and happy and not like I wanted to cry and scream and go home. And I sat there for a minute and enjoyed it, because you can see it. If they could, I don't know, how do you tell somebody that it absolutely changed their life for the better? And it's just, you're breathing oxygen. That's much better than any of the pills I was ever on that really messed me up, I think, in my opinion. But the research is there, and it's just a matter of time, really, before people realize, doctors, professionals, anybody realize that it's working.
Why not?
Yeah, and why not try it? Because it wouldn't hurt.
When I was 5, I was in a pretty severe car accident where I was thrown from the car, and they found me next to a mile marker post with I was pretty much half scalped. And so I have a scar that runs from here up across my head, and it was just kind of split open. So, but back then they didn't really do MRIs and that kind of thing. So I've kind of just lived my whole life with, migraines and anxiety attacks and just really hard time concentrating and focusing. And I just thought that I was weird, like there was something wrong with me, and that I never did understand why. I just thought that there was something wrong with me and I didn't know what. So anyway, a few years ago, my friend Diane, that was also in the study, we were at lunch one day, and she had just been in a pretty bad car accident, and they had diagnosed her with TBI. And she started telling me some of the things that she was experiencing, and I was just kind of taken back because all of those things were normal to me. That was how I have lived my whole entire life, and didn't, it was just normal to me. So all of a sudden I just kind of had some lights turning on that go, okay, maybe there's a reason for all this, because I just would get so angry at myself and what was wrong with me that I couldn't do these things. And it literally would take me an hour to figure a checkbook, to balance a checkbook, and just little things that should not take very long. They just take me forever because I couldn't gather the information and put it together, and anyway, studying and all that kind of stuff. So so after she talked to me about that, then my brother brought home the pamphlet for this study. And so I thought, what the heck, I'll call on it. And so I called and came in, and after I came in and started going through some of the treatments and started talking to some of the other people that were going through the treatments, I realized that everything that I was going through had to do with traumatic brain injury. All the symptoms that I was having. I've lived with migraines my whole entire life, and for the past the 3 years prior to starting this study, I literally had some degree of migraine every single day, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And then I started doing the chamber treatments, and I was just so exhausted all the time, and but I could tell that I was making changes, and even my husband was noticing that I was starting to be able to finish things at work faster, and not getting so anxious all the time. And so now I hardly ever have a migraine at all. I probably in the last 6 months or so, I maybe had 2 or 3. So it's been a miracle in my life, and my anxiety level is almost nothing now. I can handle things so much better, where before a little thing would just totally set me over the edge, and now I'm able to think through things and be calm about it and just handle it. It's been miraculous in my life. Yeah.
So what would you want to say to, insurance companies or other medical professionals who kind of doubt the effectiveness of this and say it's not really very good?
I would say I'd love to take one person from every insurance company who's ever had a traumatic brain injury and have them go through this, and then, seeing is believing. It's absolutely a miracle to me, and there's not one person in this world that could tell me that this doesn't work.
When nothing else will.
Yeah, when nothing else will. The medication, they're fine paying for millions and millions of dollars of medication, but that doesn't, it doesn't fix it. It just covers up the problem, and sometimes creates even worse problems, where this actually heals the brain to where then there's no problem, no need for the medication, no need for, how much money would this save to heal the problem instead of just covering it up and causing more.
What did you think of the staff and the interaction with the other people here?
I love this place. I love the people. I love everything about this place. It kind of becomes your home away from home, and you fall in love with the people that you are in the chamber with. You trade in stories back and forth. You just learn to love each other. And I've still got another friend that I just saw today that was from the chamber, that we make plans and do stuff and see them all the time. So it's been amazing to be here and to meet the people and to take part in the program. It's just been it's been a life-changing event for me.
I think the biggest difference it's made is how I feel mentally. I feel like I'm energized a lot more. I feel like I don't have to have the angry issues that I used to. Things always come in life that can make you angry, but it's not such a big blow-up thing like it used to be. My relationship with my wife is so much better because I'm so much calmer around her and things that happen in home. I feel like I'm to the point now where I just let things, things that are would bother people or bother me, it just rolls off my back. So okay, that's all right, you know. And before I couldn't do that. I was probably one of those kids that didn't realize that I had some problems because it's been 26 months ago I had a head-on crash. Did have a concussion from that crash, and besides several other injuries, and did not realize how it really had affected me until after, you know, I did the test that Jeff had set up here, and then went through the whole program of the 80 dives for the study that he was doing, and just by the time I was done with the 80th dive, I felt a whole lot better, and I've continued to feel better, you know. And believe it or not, I'm just amazed at how much better I feel. My attitude is so much better. I don't have anywhere near the angry issues I used to have. And my wife could attest to that. So, and of course, I think some of the other benefits I've had in the process of that dive, I had 2 surgeries on this leg here, and recognize the benefits of the chamber and the oxygen therapy, and the quickness of the recovery from those surgeries. One was actually a nerve decompression that was done here in town. And then later on I had a very serious infection in the foot because they had metal in the foot. And again, even though this was a brain study, I also recognized how much quicker the healing took place on these surgeries. You know, I just really feel that it was a great blessing in my life that I was able to be here when that took place, and just it has been just amazing to me. So oxygen, and it's neat to be able to be with a group of people that, while you're in the chamber, and realize that these individuals got maybe some of the same things that you're going through, you know, and just to be able to be there, and you know, I just wish they would continue the study and realize the benefit it can be, you know, not just a normal person like me, maybe a veteran that is suffering some serious issues with mental because of the service that they've given this country, you know. This is great. I hope that we can eventually get to where it's more available to people and more options than what there is at the current time. I don't know how to just let people know it's here. You know, I just wish that the powers to be, the FDA, you know, something that's so good and so beneficial, why don't they look at it, you know, and says, okay, is there a guarantee it's going to help 100% of the people? Not really. The same with traditional medicine, you know, or doctors. There's not a 100% guarantee those pills are going to fix the individual and solve it. But I feel that this is probably a lot better option than some of those drugs that are out there.
A short version of the story, I rodeoed most of my life. I was a rodeo cowboy. I rode bucking horses, and, you know, got bucked off quite a few times, got kicked in the head a few times, and that kind of caused some trauma in the brain, I guess, that I didn't know about before. And then after I graduated from high school, I joined the military and went through some stuff. I was in Desert Storm and didn't know the effects of being in the military or being in Desert Storm until just a few years ago, and then I found out what PTSD was. So when I was in the service, I was in the Navy. I was a firefighter, actually. I was on board the ship all the time, and we just fought fires. But we had an extremely large fire that put our ship out of commission for a few days, and so after everything was all said and done, everything was over, they had to have somebody go down in there and assess the damage, let them know, you know, how everything was down there. And I volunteered, and when I went down there, you know, it's pitch dark, I didn't know that I was actually crawling over top of these two dead gentlemen down there that had died trying to get out of there and had actually been burned to the metal on the lid and everything on the compartment hatch. So when I finally got some light on them and looked at them, you know, I was young enough. I'd seen dead animals, I'd seen dead things before. I didn't really think it bothered me. And you know, the picture of them comes back to my mind sitting here talking to you today, which I've been out of the service about 25 years, comes back just like the second that I was there. And you know, you can see the body crispy black and crawling over top of the bodies. The skin was peeling off like if you cooked a piece of chicken in the oven too long and burned it, and you can, you know, you touch it and the skin just peels off, and pretty gross and disgusting. And I didn't know the effects of that then. I didn't know that that had traumatized me, because you know, I just figured it was another day-to-day thing that you just have to deal with. And then, you know, after being with a veterans counselor over and over and over, many hours, the fact that I didn't know that having the nightmares about it, seeing the flashbacks for years after that incident, and all the other things connected with it were actually PTSD. So I had an incident about 3 years ago with a family member that accused me of doing some things that I didn't do, and it kicked in the PTSD, and I tried to commit suicide. Had severe anger issues, had anxiety issues, you name it. There's just a list about a mile long that after going to the veterans counselor, I actually found out that this was all connected to the head trauma and the PTSD from that incident. And I mean, it's taken a lot of counseling and a lot of other things, and that's when I heard from a friend about the Hyperbaric chamber, how they were working with head trauma and PTSD. But the extreme anger, the lightning fast fuse isn't there any longer. The anxiety, I don't get bothered by so many different things anymore. And it's amazing to have all this stuff change and be able to see this different way of life that I haven't experienced for 25, 30 years. So it's really nice to have the depression ease up, have the anxiety ease up, have the anger ease up, to where people can stand to be around me and not have me fly off the handle all the time. So my wife saw the differences right away. I mean, it made it so that we didn't have so many marital problems, so many other problems. I mean, you know, it's just really hard to deal with somebody when they're always depressed and they're always angry and just fly off the handle all the time. So it makes your whole life better.
Well, the start of Tammy's problem was the way that modern doctors cure problems is they give you heavy medications, and they don't explain to you the side effects of these medications. So Tammy was on some a medication called gabapentin for abdominal pain from a disease that she has, a bladder disease, and this was causing Tammy to black out. Well, she passed out, fell down our stairs, had a traumatic brain injury, and because of certain political things going on here, the doctors weren't responding, the neurosurgeons weren't responding here, so it took her a little longer to be life flighted to Idaho Falls, where they did emergency surgery on her, and they actually had to remove 3 inches of her brain on the left temporal lobe. So you don't know what you're getting when that happens. You just go from life is good, things are happening, to all of a sudden you're just in the most desperate situation of your life. I mean, other than Tammy dying, this is about as bad a thing as could happen. So after all of this recovery, months and months and months of coma, months of rehab, spending all kinds of money, you get through the rehab hospital, and they're the same as the other doctors. They just put you on more and more medications. When Tammy got out of the rehab hospital, she was on 15 or 20 different medicines, and they interact. They have bad side effects. They have lasting side effects. They turn you into a zombie. Then you've got one of the most serious things with traumatic brain injury that you deal with is depression and headaches. Of course, you know, I mean, you hit yourself hard enough to kill part of the brain, you're going to have bad headaches. Well, Tammy's a tough girl, and she dealt with that for a long time, and she was in constant pain. And these drugs that they give you, especially the antidepressants, they're evil. They're really hard on your body, and they are hard on your mind. They make you want to commit suicide. We had years and years of dealing with doctors and these medications, and we were kind of getting to the point where we were like, well, we need something that is more holistic, that doesn't have such drastic side effects. And a good friend of ours, Janine Willer, had some issues, and she had gone through this hyperbaric oxygen treatment of Jeff's, and I didn't know about it. So Tammy was desperate. We didn't know what to do. So I talked to Jeff, and Jeff, he's great. Well, of course, you guys know him, and you'll see he's very he's just a big personality, huge personality. And you cannot talk to Jeff without feeling confident in this guy that he's going to do something. And he said, okay, let's get Tammy in this program. And I said, you know, I don't know if our insurance will cover it. I don't know if it's going to work. And he said, that's not a problem. We are going to get Tammy better. And you know, you can't get a doctor to guarantee you something. He said, I guarantee that after a few of these treatments, you're going to notice a huge difference in Tammy. And so Tammy went to the hyperbaric oxygen treatment, and I'll be danged, next thing you know, she is feeling better. I can tell she's better. She looks better. She's healthier. I mean, when she gets out of after an hour-long hyperbaric oxygen treatment, her eyes are better. She can see better for, like 3 or 4 hours. It's just amazing. I think we all should be on oxygen at night. It would help me, you know. I mean, I'm getting to the age where it might really do me some good. But I noticed such a profound difference in that before, Tammy was just a shell of herself, and she couldn't function, and she was in constant pain, and there was nothing that I could do to help her. And Jeff has basically saved her life and saved our relationship, saved our family through this hyperbaric oxygen treatment.
I think even seeing, the thing is too, is to see even the score, you know, Jeff showing of where I started and how depressed I was, and even just my scores on me trying to read or do, you know, homework was really bad. And then just even he does the test then like 20 days, you know, after, you know, the treatment, and it shows just how much better I was doing, how much happier I was, and just, you know, how much better I can just take tests. And, you know, when I got to Ohio to see my mom felt like she didn't even know it was the same daughter, you know, because she could tell how much better I looked and how much happier I was. And it's amazing how people can tell the difference in even my ability to talk. Because with receiving the oxygen, it helps your brain heal. And you're able to, you know, live your life totally differently than I was before.
Well, when I was raised to trust doctors. They know what they're doing. They've spent years and years in school, and when they tell you something, you just say, yeah, well, I've learned that don't trust these guys. You've got to be your own advocate, and you need to educate yourself and in order to get good treatment. And it just so happens that this hyperbaric oxygen treatment in itself is better than any of the medications that they prescribed. It's doing much more to save Tammy than neurosurgeons, rehab doctors. I mean, I'm not trying to badmouth those guys, but this stuff is tremendous. It's really good.
Yeah.
I totally believe in it, and I'm not a new age, like, you know, out there type hippie guy. I like concrete facts, and I know that this stuff works.